Morning, UVC. I'm so grateful to join you from your sister community here in Sacramento, California, where we unfortunately are struggling with 6 feet of sunshine this morning. I'm doing the best I can to weather through this winter period, but it was about 6 feet of sunshine just up on my fence outside this morning. I send you warm thoughts and warm blessings. I understand that this month you have been focusing on love, and what a great subject to be focusing on, whether you've been talking about self-love, whether you've been talking about loving the physical body temple where Source has landed. Um, I want to continue to develop this topic, work with this topic, because I absolutely positively believe that right now is the time that love speaks itself out loudly. I want to call our attention to a passage of scripture that I believe will set the context for our time today. John 13:34. You're so familiar with these words, but let's hear them afresh in this moment. This is the master teacher speaking, the mastermind consciousness through the lips of Jesus the Christ, saying, "A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you, so that you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." Let me read it again so that we can hang on to every word. A new command, a new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. This morning, I want us to journey with the master teacher this morning in this conversation of love. I want to begin, though, by drawing us in a little deeper in this love practice that we've been engaged in, because I believe and I know that our unity teachings tell us that anything that we are called to do, called to be, called to express must be auto-generated. It must start with the self first. I've got to start it with me. And if you're anything like me, you probably have been impacted by what's been going on in this double pandemic. If so, just raise your hands. Just raise your hands. Give me some hearts and thumbs up. Let me know that you're with me. That we're in some unprecedented times right now, and it seems as though each week the screws are getting a little bit tighter and tighter and tighter. And for some of us, it's been very hard to love. Anybody knows what I'm talking about? Come on, it's okay to interact with me this morning. Yes, come on, tell the truth and stay in church. That has been a little harder to love, a little harder to be unity, a little harder to look on the bright side. It's been a little harder, not impossible, but harder. And also we have been experiencing things that we've never experienced before as a collective society. This shelter in place order that we've received, yes, for the introverts now, we've been living our best life. Those introverts are having the time of their life, but a big part of the rest of the world, some are feeling the crippling loneliness, the traumatizing sense of isolation Some are feeling the the impact of helplessness as they continue to see and witness the violence that is happening. Who would have thought in our lifetimes that we would have been a witness to an insurrection? Who would have thought? Come on, show some hands if you know what I'm talking about. And so this command that the master teacher is giving to us in 2021, as we begin to look at and interpret it, is a little harder to work with, because I have said to myself, there's some folks I just don't feel like loving right about now. They're just are, God. We said in our private time, we walk through it and talk, but come on, a command? What are you talking about? And so for those of us who are in this moment, in this space, or a witness to it in any way, I want to just offer a love treatment to you this morning. I want you to, first of all, be gentle with yourselves for how you're feeling, for the set of emotions that you may have about the time that we're living. I want you to be gentle with yourselves, with maybe some of the judgment that you're having, with some of the resistance that you're feeling. I want you to know that it's okay to have these sort of tornadic and volcanic and turbulent emotions without letting them have the truth of who you are. It's okay. It's okay. They can move through. They can flow through. They can be there, and you can observe them. And I want you to still, even though some of us feel a little bit guilty, some of us having some guilt about what's going on, some of us having a little fear about, even with all of that, I want you to take time to generate love for yourself so that you can get through this. Because see, we still have to get through this. We still have to come through to the other side of this experience that we're having. We still have the mandate to our families and our communities. None of that went away because all of this happened. We just need to step back for a moment and love. And so I want you to take a moment and embrace your own body temple. Will you do that with me? Just enfold your own body temple. Some of us right now are hug deprived. Oh my God. Oh my God. We are hug deprived. You know, if you're like me, you collect a few hundred hugs a week, but it's been since March of last year. I've had my couple hundred hugs a week. So I want you to enfold your own body temple. I want you to take a deep breath, feel into it. And as I call my name and say, I love you 3 times, I want you to call your name and say, I love you out loud 3 times. I want you to declare some love for you in this moment. And just know that this is my way of enfolding your entire community. Okay, I'm going to call my name and say, I love you 3 times. I'm going to ask you to do the same. Come on. Kevin, I love you. Kevin, I love you. Kevin, I love you. Just be in that for a moment. Love yourself. Feel, there it is. Feel that love wash over you. For truly, this act of love, starting with you, begins to heal you, begins to free you. Begins to remind you that you're still safe. Even now, you're still safe. That you're going to make it. It's going to be okay. That you don't get it right all the time. You don't say it right all the time. You don't think it right all the time, but you're still worthy of love. That you are lovable and loving and totally worthy to be loved. Say that with me in the first person. Repeat it after me. I am loving and lovable, totally worthy to be loved. I am loving and lovable, totally worthy to be loved. One more time. I am loving and lovable, totally worthy to be loved. Just behold that truth for you. Let that be true for you. The infilling of the presence of God now conditions you to hear the word that is going forth today. You are a candidate to hear what the master teacher has sent me to say. So it is. Then I take an extra minute just to, make sure I didn't miss a part. Is that okay for everybody? You're all right with that? I send this love treatment because I understand what it feels like to move through the challenges that we are facing in our country, in our world right now, and feel alone at it or feel isolated from community. And I think one of the things that we're appreciating more than ever before, especially about our beloved UVC, is that there is immunity in spiritual community, isn't it? There is community and spiritual community, coming in and having the ushers be there to greet you and hearing the music and seeing friends and family. There is community. There's something about us that is meant to connect and be together. Is it not true? Yeah. And so let's all the more value and appreciate this spiritual community, even in this new way that we are relating to it. So let's go back to the words of the master teacher. It's very, very important to hear, to hang on, and to be with what he is saying. He calls this a command. And so my topic this morning is the Jesus mandate. The Jesus mandate. Of all the things and all the teachings and all the acts and all of the ways in which we witness the master teacher express himself, there were few times where Jesus gave a direct order, a command. Now we know about the other 10 commandments that were one or two have been broken. If you've broken at least one or two of the other 10, raise your hand. Yeah, well, at least once or twice. These others, but this one, Jesus had said before previously that the laws and the prophets hang on this one thing, this one idea. If you can get this right, you got it. I command you to love one another. I command you to love one another. What authority, what power, what a charge he's giving to his disciples. Why? Because I believe that the master teacher knew that a 2020 and a 2021 would be upon us. I believe that he had the capacity to see the evolution of humanity and or the potential devolving of humanity. And I believe that he understood. Then he understood that while it's okay to try to legalize a world that works for all, laws are insufficient to bring about authentic community. There has to be something present in the hearts and the minds and souls of the individual that then has that law become flesh and dwell among us. That this word, this law, then has a way to become flesh. It has the instrumentality, it has the vehicle to become flesh and dwell among us. Yes? This is what I see he saw. This is what I see he understood. He knew that the laws weren't cutting it alone. And haven't there been laws in our country? Haven't there been laws in our country that we were to follow? And if we were just simply to follow them, we'd be all right by now. But it is not enough. Something in the soul of humanity has to awaken to the idea of our oneness. So let's just do a little bit of review, because I'm certain that Reverend Erin walked us through this. What is love? We're taught by our co-founders that love is the idea in divine mind of universal oneness. Love is the idea in divine mind of universal oneness. It harmonizes, it unifies, it binds, it cements, it attracts. It is the soul force that Dr. King spoke about. And in the absence of those avatars and their physicality, you know, the Dr. Kings and the Mother Teresas and the Gandhis and all of those beautiful emissaries of peace, in their physical absence, Jesus was getting us ready to take our places, Now, here's another distinction. In coming to understand that love's function is to bring us together, love's function is to harmonize and unify, because the absence of love is clearly the presence of chaos and disorder and destruction, and we're seeing it all around us, yes? So in this way, Jesus was not calling for us to relate to him as the one who was going to come back and clean up this mess. Hello. In this particular command, Jesus identifies his relationship and clarifies his relationship to his disciples. He's saying to them, is in essence, if you're picking up what he's putting down, you're hearing him say that I am not looking for you to worship me. I am looking for you to follow me. This way you qualify to be my disciple, is what he says, my student, my pupil, my follower. And so this business of the second coming of Jesus in the physical, that's going to save the world from this sickness, this whole hero idea, is not what Jesus was teaching. He's teaching that I am here to replicate, duplicate, and activate my consciousness and spirit in those who have said, I am your student. Here's what Jesus is up to with this command. You ready? Jesus was in the business of creating way showers. By showing us the way. He is initiating a new league of way showers. So then the disciples become apostles, individuals who then go forth and multiply the consciousness. Now, ask yourself the question, when you hear that, does it make you a little uncomfortable? I'm good with Jesus being, I'm good. First of all, Rev Kev, I'm good that I can accept that Jesus is, I'm not looking at Jesus as Savior, I'm looking at Jesus as way shower. So you got that part, right? But are you comfortable accepting the fact that this command is also a spiritual initiation for you to be the way shower in succession to him? And now more than ever before, we are in a time where we are seeing the most, I don't know, it's so hard to say. We're seeing what we would describe as fear gone run amok, hate run amok, division run amok, duality run amok. We're seeing all of this run amok in our lifetime, and we have been in the locker room with the master teacher who's been giving us this message for over a century in unity that says, well, we are one with each other. There is no real separation. That I don't see someone who's different than me. I see a brother, I see a sister, irrespective of their race, tribe, color, gender, sexual orientation, religious denomination. I see all of that. This is what I see. Is that right? Is that what we say in unity? Come on, let me see some hands. Yes, this is what we say. And so in times like the ones we are living in, who is being called forth to show the world how to live this way? Commentators on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News are not the way showers. Though some of us tune in evermore. They are not the way showers. You and I have been called for such a time as this to be the way showers now. That's why Jesus used a command, made it a command. This is the one rule, folks. You get to love one another. Well, Jesus, how do I do it? I want to love each other. I want to love folks. I want to show forth compassion. I want to do all of that. How do I do it? We want to begin to break love down. Now, I'll give you a little challenge. You can go to 1 Corinthians 13 and really zero in to begin to see, check your definition against this widely accepted definition of love. And in this passage, we're shown what love is not, or love is, rather. Love is patient, kind. You get what I'm saying? So we're going to work on developing all those qualities. So check with 1 Corinthians 13 to kind of get in there to see if your definition of love matches up. But then I want us to break love down in three ways. Love, trust, Trusts. Love, trust. Trust is my ability to accept that always and in all ways I am rightly guided, rightly supported, rightly covered and protected. When I am operating in love, I can trust. I can trust the process. I can even look out in the world with what is going on, and I can trust that there is a divine order happening even inside of everything that we're seeing. But Rev Kev, I don't know, I can trust this. No, you're not trusting this. Remember the master teacher. Come on, disciples. Come on, students. Remember this now. The master teacher was talking about a kingdom not built with hands. So this world of appearances is not what you're being called to trust. This world of appearances is not the thing you're being called to trust. You're being called to trust this vision, this emerging paradigm of peace and love and a world that works for all. This vision that so compels you to act, to resist. You know, among my many hats, I've been involved in social justice activism because for me, the fifth principle, when it is activated, it looks like me standing up for justice. Dr. Cornel West said that justice is what love looks like in public. And so whether it has taken me to the US-Mexico border with over 1,000 people saying we don't lock babies in cages, and saying that out loud and putting my physical life and body on the line to make that statement, not because I believe in this outer world, but because I am driven and compelled. I am driven and compelled by a kingdom not made with hands, but this spiritual kingdom of God, the spiritual kingdom of good, this idea of a world that works for all. I am so sold out on it. I can see it, I can feel it, I can taste it. I trust completely that it is there, and it is emerging and awakening itself up into the consciousness of man. And my role and my job and my function is to more and more enroll others in the seeing beyond this visible dimension. Or whether it has me be arrested with 84 of my colleagues on a bridge in Sacramento on a cold Sunday night, where college students were saying that murdering unarmed Black people in the United States is wrong, whether you're wearing a uniform or not. And to say that and to protest and to demand change, in essence, is screaming to one another, love one another. That's what the march is really saying. And we were arrested for saying, love one another. Love, trust that this kingdom not made with hands is real. And that the sender, the one who sent you, is here now and is commissioning you today. So love, trust. Love also commits. Love commits. When Anita and I were first dating, we met on Match.com, my wife and I met on Match.com, but eventually, we had to take it off Match.com and start going out and dating and all of that. And she was just so smitten. She was so smitten. You should have seen her. She could, how she told me she loved me for the first time? I swear, this is how she said it. She would go, you. I said, well, what do you say? I said, you. And now she says, you. 15 years later, you. But before it was you. And so then I said to her in Spanish on one of our dates, te amo, which in Spanish means, it's a little more, it's heavier than te quiero, which is, it also means I love you, but te amo, I'm putting myself out there. I'm going in, love commits. Love gives itself over and then takes action on its word. So eventually we would become married. It was not enough for me to give lip service to it. And here's the thing, Unity people. I want to talk to Unity people. I was so happy to hear earlier about all the wonderful ways that you are committing to that fifth principle as it concerns the unhoused, right? I'm so happy about that. Beyond lip service, it is making the commitment, making ourselves congruent right now, with part of this pandemic. There are people who are crushed and hurting and need your support. And it's not enough to feel it in our hearts and go, wow, that's wrong. we should do better, or be bystanders, or be silent even. This is the time now more than ever before to commit, to say within your heart and soul, I am accepting this command. I'm in. I'm all in. I'm all in. I got a phone call the other day from a very dear, dear friend of mine and longtime Unity student who, in the wake of the George Floyd murder, he's a white male. He called me and just said, Rev Kev, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I feel so helpless and powerless about what's happening to Blacks and people from the African diaspora in the United States. I just feel so sometimes helpless, and I just want you to know I'm here, and I need to know what you need, because I'm willing. But I sometimes just don't know what to do about it. And I gave him a lot of credit for that, because he was committing himself even before he knew what he might be asked to do. And that's the last key. Love is courageous. Love is courageous. Love says, I am willing to walk in the fire with you. Oh, when you love somebody, won't you walk in the fire with them? When you love somebody, won't you show up? When you love somebody, if they have 3 flat tires on the freeway at midnight, won't you get out of your bed and come and get them? You might cuss all the way home for them not, having better car maintenance, but won't you do the courageous thing? This is what this command means. And Jesus is non-negotiable about this. He says, don't identify yourself with me. Don't identify yourself. Don't call yourself my student. Don't act out, and don't open a place in my name. Don't do anything if you can't do this one thing. Love one another. Love is always a verb. Love is always a verb. It always calls us to act. I want to give you a simple acronym for what love calls us to do. A-C-T. A-C-T. Act. Activate compassion today. Activate compassion today. This is the way I interpret this command. Activate compassion today. And how do I know where and when and how to activate compassion today, to act? The spirit within you is always giving you love prompts. Love prompts. Prompts. Love prompts. As you go deeper in your spiritual practice, you'll become more and more familiar with them. You'll become more and more connected to them. You'll be able to see it in the same way you're able to recognize when the light changes at the intersection from red, yellow to green. You want to be in tune, so in tune with that inner voice, that when you receive a love prompt, you activate compassion today, right then and there. Be engaged. That's one of the COVID bonuses. It's giving us the capacity to slow it all the way down, reacquaint ourselves with that inner voice, and take actions. One of the things that I've been doing as it relates to this particular love prompt is I have been writing handwritten letters when I get the prompt. Who remembers old-fashioned, a handwritten letter? And I buy the beautiful calligraphy tip pens and the ink. I'm literally I'm slowing it all the way down. Calligraphy tip pens, the ink, beautiful stationery, envelopes, stamps. I've purchased roll of stamps and wax and the embossment. I'm doing the whole thing. Why? Because when I am operating out of this prompt, I want it to be felt that he stopped time. He stopped time in order to say to me that I matter to him. What if we all found a way to stop time to say to another, you matter to me? Think about what that would look like and feel like in the times in which we are living. What might that do to prompt and unfold a world that works for all? And I believe this is why Jesus gives us this mandate. So that we are the new way showers, showing and calling the world to act with compassion today. And that's how they will know that we are the disciples, the students, the followers of the master teacher. And so it is written, and so I have spoken, and so you have heard it, and so it is. Amen. And namaste, beloveds.